Hello beautiful people. When you're using a certain tank and start deciding on how much ammunition to bring, how do you do it? Do you just bring a full load of ammo, or do you take, for instance, half of the total available ammunition with you? And why do you decide on a certain amount of ammunition to bring? And do you think about what number of shells is the safest to bring to minimize the chance of a round hitting your tank, igniting your ammunition, aka ammo racking? In this video I'll show you 3 popular tanks, all sitting at BR 3.7 from 3 different popular played nations, namely the United States, Germany and the USSR. I'll show you where the ammunition is stored and in which order it is being used by the crew. I'll also give you my opinion on the best number of shells to bring in each of the 3 vehicles to still be effective in a match, and also to minimize the risk of ammo racking. And the 3 things are these: the M4 Sherman, the Panzer IV Ausführung G, and the T-34 from 1941. Starting from the top with the M4 Sherman, you can maximum bring 97 shells, and they are placed in 8 different ammo racks. Second is the German Panzer IV. You have access to 87 shells total, and they are placed in 10 different ammo racks. And lastly, the T-34 from 1941. Here you can maximum bring 77 shells, and they are placed in 7 different ammo racks. Here we have the M4 Sherman. And if you hit O, then you get access to the X-ray vision. You can see all the modules and you can see all the ammo racks. Now in this tank you have 3 ammo racks at the back of the turret baskets, and I will call those the ready racks. Those are the ammo that's going to be used first and the easiest accessible. Now if you start firing, you cannot see the individual rounds being fired, but you can only see once the entire ammo rack is gone. So let me just fire 7 rounds and then see if we can see if the first ammo rack is gone. Okay, so I fired 6 rounds while the 7th is in the breech, and as you can see, the ammo rack is gone. Now whenever that first one is gone, the next one that's going to be used or spent is the ammo rack right next to it with 3 rounds, and then there's the one with 2 rounds. And at the bottom of the turret basket, I know it's still difficult to see if you pan around, the next one that's going to be used is that one, and that contains 8 rounds of ammunition. After that we have a ready rack, or sorry, not a ready rack, a rack right next to the driver, and that one contains 15 rounds of ammo, and that's going to be spent next. Then on the opposite side, close to the bow gunner, on the right side, front side of the hull, we have 17 rounds, and that's the one that's going to be spent after that. And then further back on the right side we have another 15 rounds of ammunition. That's going after that. And then at the very bottom of the turret and the very bottom of the hull centered is the last and largest ammo rack, and that contains 30 rounds of ammo. And that is the complete ammo count on a full loaded M4 Sherman. So the single largest ammo rack in the M4 Sherman sits smack in the middle at the bottom of the hull. And that is also the last ammo rack to be emptied. So we can use this information for a couple of things. Firstly, it contains 30 rounds, and that should be enough for an entire match. And secondly, they are all in one single rack. That means that my suggestion for the M4 Sherman is to bring 30 rounds with you in a match. That way you still have enough rounds to do some serious damage, And this is also the best way to be protected from your ammo to explode from a random hit, since you know where your ammo is stored at all times. This also means that you now know where to place or park your vehicle in order to protect your ammunition from being hit. And if you play on the axis, there's something else to be gained from this knowledge. Now you know exactly where you can aim in order to have the biggest chance of ammo rack in an M4 Sherman, because there will always be ammunition at that particular spot. Next up is the Panzer 4G, and here we have access to 87 rounds, and they're placed in 10 different ammo racks. The first two are on the back wall of the turret, so to speak. Not turret, sorry, hull. We have two right here, and then two on the left side. Third ammo rack is at the bottom of the turret basket, right here with the 4. And those are to be emptied first. The fourth ammo rack to be emptied is this one, on the upper right side, and this one has 8 rounds of ammunition. Then we are going to switch to the left side. First we have 9 rounds back here, and after those are spent, these 9 rounds on the upper left side are going to be spent. Then we're switching once again to the right side, starting from behind. 9 rounds here, 9 rounds here, and 9 rounds here. Then just switching to the left side again. So we have 6 rounds up here just behind the driver. And last but not least, the largest rack on the Panzer 4G is down here just behind the driver, and that contains 24 rounds of ammo. When we look at the Panzer 4G, luckily it has the same characteristic when it comes to the very last ammo rack, just like the Sherman. The largest amount of ammo is placed in one single rack. The last ammo rack on the Panzer 4G only contains 24 rounds of ammo though, but you can expand on that by adding the next ammo rack that sits just on top of the 24 one, also situated just behind the driver. If you do that, you'll have the same amount of ammo as the Sherman, which means 30 rounds of ammo. If you're fine with 24 rounds, which is still plenty, just stick with that. That is a little safer. Placement wise, I think there's both pros and cons. Now, let's try to say that you're using a solid shot and you're trying to ammo rack a Panzer 4G and you hit it center. Well, you're not going to hit any ammunition. You're probably going to kill some crew, but no ammunition, because the ammunition is stored further in the front. But on the other hand, it's not as safe since it sits closer to the driver at the outer wall and not placed in the center of the tank like it is with the Sherman. And once again, but if you this time play it on the Allied side, hitting the Panzer 4G right about here will ensure that there's a 100% chance that it will hit the ammunition. Last but not least, we're going to look at the T-34. Now the T-34 has a very cramped interior, and it's kind of difficult to actually show you the ammo, but I'll do my best. If you look to the left and to the right in the upper hull just below the turret, you see 3 ammo racks containing 3 rounds each. There's one on the right side, right here, and 2 on the left side. Those 3 ammo racks are the first to be used. After that, all the ammo is located at the very bottom of the hull. The first of the 4 ammo racks at the bottom that are to be used is this one. Back right corner. After that, we're going to use the one on the back left side. And after that again, see if I can turn around, is the one that sits in the front right side. and lastly front left side. Now the two to the rear each contain 16 rounds of ammo, and the two in the front each contain 19 rounds of ammo. So the situation with the T-34 is a little different compared to the Info Sherman and the Panzer IV. In order to have a decent amount of ammunition, you actually need to fill 2 racks of ammo here. Unless of course you're a crack shot and think that 18 rounds is enough for you. In that case, good job. But for all other us mortal souls, I'd rather have 2 ammo racks filled and bring 36 rounds of ammo. Although the fighting compartment in the T-34 is rather small, the placement of the ammo of the T-34 is probably the safest of all 3 tanks I've looked at so far. Except for the 9 rounds, in the ready racks all ammunition is stored at the very bottom of the tank, making it by far the safest tank when we're talking about the placement of the ammo. And once again, looking at where to aim in order to kill a T-34 if you are Axis, well, or Allied in some instances actually, how some of the matches go. You would need to hit right around here, and again, this is by far the most difficult shot to make in order to hit the ammo correctly in a T-34. So kudos for that design. So to bring some sort of conclusion to this little video, I would definitely say that the T-34 wins hands down when we're talking about safety in form of ammo placement in order to minimize the risk of ammo racking. I would probably say that the second place is a tie between the Panzer IV and the Sherman. Mostly because you would easily think that hitting a tank center mass would be the easiest way to make a kill, so that kind of counts towards the German. On the other hand, on the German Panzer IV, the ammo rack sits closer to the outer hull, making it a little more exposed compared to the Sherman. Something else that can be a matter of opinion that would count towards the German also is that it's not easily found, the ammo rack placement on the German tank, since it sits far front on the hull and not normally like the other ones do smack in the middle or closer to the bottom. So it's a little back and forth, but I still think it's a toss-up between the Sherman and the German Panzer, making them tie for the second place. Anyhow, that was it for this little video. Hope you liked it. I had a lot of fun making it, and once again I learned something new about the game. So until next time, have a good one.